Hi, I'm Charles Emmons with JTech. I'll be explaining the suspension system in detail. Okay, we have a 90 Aerostar van suspension here today. Let me go over some of the parts of the suspension with you. We have the upper A-arm and the bushings right here. Alright, over here you have your grease fitting. It's called dessert fitting. It's where you put in the grease for the upper ball joint, which is up in there. Upper ball joint. It's kind of like the ball joint in your shoulder. You have your shock mount right here, which also has your coil springs under here. Your shock is inside the coil springs. It's the yellow. Alright. And here's your spindle. Oh, let me back it up. Now here's your spindle. Okay, it holds your wheel and wheel hub. Connected to the spindle is the outboard tie rod, adjustable. It leads to your rack and pinion steering right here, so you can turn. Your inboard tie rod right here. It's usually covered up by a boot, but this is like I said, a rack and pinion. Hydraulically controlled. This is your input for your steering wheel right here. Goes right there. They have a wrench so you can manipulate it. Okay. The yellow part right here, this giant yellow bar, is your sway bar. Sway bar right there. Right here is your lower control arm, which it has its adjustments for camber, and your lower ball joint right here. Independent suspension has its own A-arms, and they are not connected to each other. Separate A-arms. That is independent suspension. Have a upper and a lower A-arm with a ball joint to the spindle, top and bottom. And up here is a solid axle going from one hub, solid axle right here, to the other hub. They connect both wheels. That is a solid independent system, whereas that one, each wheel is independent of each other. So when you hit a bump, only one wheel will hit the bump if it's on that side. Okay, right here is a parallelogram suspension. You have two bars running roughly parallel on this Jeep, and they both go to the spindle right here. All right. Now what we're going to do is talk about some of the things you need to look at if you have when to check your suspension. All right. If you have any weird noises as you drive or when you go over bumps, that is a good time to check your suspension. Anytime you show abnormal wear, either on the inside or the outside of the tire, if it's bald and the rest of the tire is good, that is time to check your suspension. Right here you'll see the tires more or less worn evenly, but some tires can get cupped, like the treads will hang out more. It won't be flat like this tire is. That means you need to get your alignment checked. If you find doing an oil change, if you find grease slung all over here, that's a good time to have somebody look at your CV joints. All right, if you find go over here. If you find, this is your shock strut. If you find oil leaking on your shock strut or on the ground underneath your shock, a clear oily fluid, may want them to have them look at your shocks. Like I said, if you go over a bump, one wheel goes over a bump and makes a different noise, or clunk. Have them look at your shocks. If you put it in drive, it's a good time to, and it clunks. If you're going to forward or reverse, have them look at your U-joints here. If you shake the vehicle, and it should go down and come back up. Okay, in summary, I'm gonna wrap up this video with a shot of the rear of the van, the trailing arm system. Okay, it's an independent setup, independent system, independent suspension. McPherson struts inside a coil spring. Your upper A-arm, your trailing arm, your spindle, right here, the blue spindle. A good shot of your ball joint right there, upper ball joint. This is your adjustment for your toe and your